Hello friends, in the series on the income tax cases, today we will discuss a very important issue where the additions are being made into the income of the assessee. When the assessing officer in the assessment proceedings of the assessee issues notices under section 133 subsection 6 to various parties and those parties do not comply with those notices, and for the non-compliance of the notices by those parties, the additions are being made to the income of the assessee even without confronting the assessee that these notices are not being complied with. This issue has been taken by the Honorable ITAT Delhi Bench H in the case of Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax versus Real Impact Private Limited, and the matter has been decided on 8th December 2023, and this matter has been reported in 109 ITR Tribunal Short Notes 29. The case relates to the assessment year 16-17. The addition relates to section 41 subsection 1, in which if the assessing officer feels that and is satisfied that the assessee is no longer required to pay the creditors, then the addition can be made for those creditors. But the prime condition is that there should be satisfaction that the assessee has not to make the payment to the creditors in future, and this is the income of the assessee. In the present case, there was one creditor F for which a huge amount was there, and there were 33 more sundry creditors. During the assessment proceedings, the assessee submitted all the confirmation of the sundry creditors, their PAN number, their bank statements and the ledger accounts, in which it was very much evident that the assessee has made the payments to all the creditors in the subsequent years. The assessing officer during the assessment proceedings for doing the verification whether these creditors were genuine or not issued the notices under section 133 subsection 6 to the various creditors, but those creditors do not turn up to reply to the learned assessing officer. So the assessing officers take a negative view without pinpointing any mistake into the evidences which have been submitted by the assessee, whether they are correct or not. The assessing officers take a adverse view against the assessee and made the additions. When the assessee moved to the CIT appeal was of the opinion that when there is sufficient evidence on record and because of the non-compliance of notices by the sundry creditors under section 133 subsection 6, the additions have been made without pinpointing any lacuna in the documents which have been submitted by the assessee, those additions should not sustain, and accordingly the CIT appeal gave relief to the assessee. When this matter came to the tribunal, because the department moved to the tribunal also held in favor of the assessee by saying that in the present case the assessing officer has miserably failed to prove that the amount is not to be paid by the assessee, so the addition under section 41 subsection 1 cannot be upheld in the case of the assessee, and at the same time the tribunal gave a very clear and lawful finding that in the present case the assessee was not confronted with the fact that the non-receipt of replies in compliance to the notices under section 133 subsection 6 to the various parties in the case of the assessee. So in the absence of non-confrontation of the non-submission of the replies by the sundry creditors, and in the absence that the assessing officer has grossly failed to prove that the amount is not to be paid in future, so the addition should not hold good. Friends, in the present scenario, this case is very important because all we know that when the assessment proceedings are going on, when the assessee submits the reply, the assessing officer just sleeps and he awakes at the end of the assessment and he issues some notices to various parties under section 133 subsection 6. And when these notices are not complied, because nowadays these notices are sent to the email which are there in the PAN number of those sundry creditors, sometimes they do not get the notice, sometimes even they get the notice, they do not reply, because the department never takes any strict action for those who do not comply with the notices under section 133 subsection 6. So in those cases, this case becomes like a milestone that if the notices issued under section 133 subsection 6 are non-complied by the sundry creditors, then this fact should be brought to the notice of the assessee, and this fact should be confronted to the assessee before making the addition under section 41 subsection 1. At the end of this video, once again I am repeating the name of the case. The name of the case is Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax versus Real Impact Private Limited, and this case has been reported in 109 ITR Tribunal short notes 29, and the matter has been decided by Delhi ITAT H bench, and the date of the judgment is 8th December 2023. Thank you, friends.